Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first live stream on YouTube. Last week, is it last week? Yeah, I think it was last week. We did a live stream on Twitch, but I decided to do the live streaming on YouTube for now. So we have everything at the same page, so to speak. So all the videos and the live streams are all on the same platform. YouTube will save this live stream and you can watch it back after it is done. And once this live stream is done, I will download the video file and I will make a nice time lapse of it. So if you missed the live stream, or if you want to see, if you missed part of the live stream, you can watch it back. But I will make a time lapse of a couple of minutes of it without commentary. I think last week I did a live stream as well, and I did a time lapse with commentary. But this time I think I will make a shorter time lapse and put some music on it, something like that. We made 6 thumbnails, and yeah, we want to make these thumbnails into paintings. The thing is, I can't do all of them today. Of course, that's too much. So I want to pick one and work on one of them. I kind of want to choose between this one or that one. I really like this one, but yeah, I think I like them both. Maybe we can work on both. Let's start with working on this one. We got a new layer. We got a brush. I probably want to change my brush size a little bit here. What brush do we have selected? Brush. Want that. Let's see. What do we want to paint with today? Got all sorts of brushes here. Work with this noisy brush. I think maybe it's this one. Let's start with a fairly rough one. While my layer is looking, we get a new layer. Set the brush opacity to a little bit lower, and now we're just gonna start painting and refining things. It's a fairly rough sketch. The fairly small size. We increased the size to 6,000 pixels, so we are currently 6,000 pixels width, which is fine for now. And the first hour or so, I think we'll just go in here and there and start to paint, start to refine things. We have to establish the light source. I think we're going for a light source from the left there, the top left. So that's kind of important. I will start small, and I got this waterfall here. Not sure if I like it. Gonna keep it for now. Can change it later. Kinda wanna have some light yellowish colors here. Alright. Gonna bring in some textures later. First we will be quite rough with the brush. Then we will put down some textures, and as a last pass we will go in there with a brush again. Not sure how refined I'm gonna make this. We want it fairly refined, but like rough paintings quite a lot, so we'll see. Not sure if I want to bring in any architecture, any buildings on the painting. Maybe. But see how we can approach that. Maybe we'll put down a nice little village there. But who knows? I want this. I don't want this to be a cloud. Cloud. Which may end up being quite difficult to looking, but we're gonna try our best. The learning experience. We're learning how to paint here. So we should take our time stuff, and that means that we sometimes have to do things that are currently difficult. That's the way you improve. The way I approach my improvement, my road to do things that I find fairly difficult and hard to do. Because otherwise, if you're doing just stuff that are fairly easy to you, then not really improving that much. Still improving, of course. I mean, every stroke you put on paper or on a canvas or whatever screen is a bit of improvement. But if you really take your time to figure out stuff that you don't really know how it works or how you can make it work, if you really take your time to understand things, I think you learn a lot more, and you just keep doing stuff you're already good at. But it's also quite hard to do, because you're doing stuff that you know how to do. You get a lot of confidence in doing that. So you're doing stuff that you don't really know how to do. It might be a little bit difficult to find the confidence to actually. So you should have a balance, I think, between easy stuff and difficult stuff. You do the difficult stuff to learn new things, but sometimes you have to do the easy stuff just to build your confidence to a certain level. We have to figure out how we want to approach our lighting here. That I kind of want to keep this waterfall here. It's a very wet landscape and a lot of water. I want to keep water possible. Might change it a little bit. Add some rocks here. I want this to be a rocky bit with a bit of grass on top. And maybe it goes down and have a second level here. We're gonna have to work with the Lasso Tool a bit with the values to up a little bit more. And then we have some trees here. Pine tree, I think. At the bottom. Let's save it. I always make it a habit to press Ctrl S a lot save my my painting. Don't want to lose too much progress if Photoshop crashes. Although it has never crashed on me on this PC, so might not be necessary as much as I want to do these clouds. Clouds look a little bit silly. First I want to get rid of all these artifacts. First, rough, chill, sketch. Sky a little bit. We have this nice blue here. I think I want to bring that blue to other parts of the painting as well. Might be a bit. Let's see. Let's make a new layer for that. Check our progress. When you're painting, it doesn't feel like you're making a lot of progress. Put off the layer. Recently seeing quite some progress. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use this lighter blue here as well. Well, or it is darker than the blue, of course, but it's the lighter part of darker blue. A bit confusing there. I think that hopefully works better. Clean it up a lot, of course, but just an indication how it will look with the other blue. And maybe we can sort of a gradient. Let's put that layer off. Let me see. It's very, very rough, but I think it works better. I'm gonna collapse the layer, and yes, we have to refine the sky a lot, but I think it works better than the blue. Let's work on the sky a little bit. Also want to bring in some darker values in these clouds because they are very, very bright. Which clouds aren't necessarily bright. Most of the time, you'll see the brighter part on top of the cloud where the sun hits the cloud, and then the bottom of the cloud is a little bit darker. Okay. Opacity here with 60. Probably. Well, still might change the clouds a lot. Could make the sky entirely blue and bring up some photographs of clouds and work from that. That might actually be the idea as well, because I don't really like the way the clouds look. But clouds are not that hard to change because we can just lasso this entire bit, fill it in with a blue, and pop in some clouds from a photograph and work from that. So we shouldn't worry too much about clouds right now. But I want to have it decent looking, so we don't get too distracted by the way the clouds look. We're working on the rest of the painting. And we probably should just get rid of this entire white top here, and maybe send this one a little bit darker. Whites in there, colors. Now we have 3 bumps, which are basically exactly the same size. We don't want that. Let's change it even more. Let's separate these lines like this. You're too afraid. Too afraid. I was too afraid. I just need to go in there and go ham with the brush. Of course, we want to preserve a little bit of the original sketch, but if you're too afraid to go in there with a brush and stuff, then why am I painting? Guts to. I think that's better. Not sure about this one just yet, but keep it there for now. And we can refine this this later. We'll refine this later. All right, I'm actually fairly happy with the sky the way it is. Let's check. We went from here to this. Yeah, I'd say that's an improvement. So let's work on some of these mountains. I should come up with a plan. I was planning on sort of figuring out what to do with this painting before I started the stream, but turned out that I didn't really have the time to do it. Maybe I should have started this. It would be a better idea, I think. Now I have to commentate, paint, and figuring out what the heck I'm doing at the same time, which is actually fairly complicated work. And I don't want this to be a random blobs of paint. So we're gonna take our time. Do I want buildings? That's a question we have to answer. Because if I do, I lay down some of our bases. But we could get even more ones, but let's do that on a new layer. Let's do make sure that we really want that. Shop is quite laggy currently. Using my brush size to I think up until 150, maybe 200. Up until 200 size. It's doable. Shouldn't get too much bigger. See, it's already laggy. Maybe it doesn't really show much on the stream, but when you're painting, it's really possible that the brush isn't exactly at the same spot that you're lagging behind, so to speak. I don't think this is working. I don't. Then if we really want this, we should really go over the top with this and like this. But if I do that, then it's gonna be, well, it doesn't really the same like this one. But But do I want this? Do I want a lot of... painting it better by it? Gonna have to answer. Let's throw down some paint, and then we're gonna turn on and off the layer to check if I like it or not. It looks decent to me. We have this nice bit of water. Check. So we either go with this or we go with that. I think compared to the background, there's a lot of water here, and for some reason there's a big lake or something like that back there, and for some reason it ends up being a very small stream here. Could be that the stream flows to the lake, of course, but compared to the amount of water that's shown here, this really small bit, does it really make sense for the brain? You know what I mean? So I think this is better. I think this fits the overall idea of this being really wet, a lot of water. Maybe Norway, a bit of a Norway-ish kind of landscape. You know, at the coast is fjords and things like that. So I think I'm gonna go with the water. I think I'm gonna collapse the layer. Let's paint a little bit more on this layer. And if we fine with it, I'm gonna collapse it. I think I want this to be a bit. I want this landscape to be a lot of green grass, trees. So next to the water, we probably have a very small. Of course, there could be trees just overhanging. And maybe there's a, I don't know, could be a island here. Of course, we have to clean this up. A lot of, but doesn't really, it isn't necessarily a bad thing that there is a lot of information there. We of course want this to mirror in the water. Although this water may be fairly rough, you don't get the mirror effect water. Once when it is a very wild of water. Yeah, I think I like this better than one before. Probably brightness bit. Yeah, we're gonna go with some grass here as well. I think it works. Grass on top. Could brighten this up as well. Yeah, that definitely looks a little bit better. And maybe there's a layer here. Right, then probably should get saturated background. Maybe a little bit darker. There we go. So I either go with this, the original, or with that, the bit that we just added. Zoom out a little bit and see what reads better. So we either go for this for that? I think we go for this. Yes, I'm gonna collapse it. So we started with this. Now we're at this. How long have we been streaming for? Half an hour. I think we made quite a bit of progress here. I might just paint for an hour on this one, and then maybe we'll paint on the other one for an hour as well. But we'll see. Wait, select the right tool. I don't want to end up with 5 different half-finished paintings, so that's a thing that I should take note of. I have a tendency of leaving a lot of paintings at an almost finished state, and I kind of want to finish them. So maybe it's just better to finish this one and maybe do a live stream of other paintings next week. I'm planning on live streaming every Wednesday. And I think we're gonna do a lot of painting. We have some landscapes to finish, but I also want to start with maybe with some creatures or more architecture. There is some architecture sometimes in paintings, but maybe some paintings that focus a lot more actual architecture than on the landscapes, because that's something I should focus more. I'm currently thinking, should I just continue painting, or be a good idea to bring in some textures, go from there. My opacity set to 30. I'll do that. Bring that river a little bit more. The flow. That's fun. Pick some very bright light from the sky. Maybe we should extend the grass a bit in some places. And we also want to play a little bit with the sunlight. To do that. Sure. Just gonna continue for now. The sun hits the trees. Can we create try this. This is fairly extreme. Can we create some, and we probably shouldn't be bothering with that just yet. This is probably for a later stage. But get some highlights. We write highlights. Way too much, and it seems saturated. I think I want to, at a later stage, bring in highlights like this. There is some sunlight. It's hitting there. Well, kind of we can get rid of. But I'm figuring out what kind of color should I bring in for the highlights later on. Painting is fairly cold in terms of color temperature, so we might want to bring in some warmer highlights of some sort. But we have some tools to our disposal to play with that on a later stage. So get this cloud up and running. Float. Rid of these. And we have some light there, like this. Still very, very rough. Oh. And we will create some. This is a really cloudy cloud, but we will create some mist around it, so it's not as popping as it is currently. Popping a little bit too much. Well, and I'm basically all over the place when I'm painting. I'm just going from left to right to left to top to bottom, clouds, mountains. Not really focusing on refining it from a certain point and working over the entire painting. I'm just basically refining everything at the same time, so to speak. Not at the same time, of course, but at the same level. So even if I couldn't finish this painting, everything is basically at the same level of detail currently. So I could just say, you know what, I'm done here. I think this is it. This is enough, and the whole painting reads basically the same. If I go in here and say, for instance, I'm gonna refine the bottom right corner, and this is a very let's say that the bottom right corner is really refined, is really a high level of detail. Then I have to bring up the entire painting to that high level of detail before I can actually say that it is finished. If I go over the entire painting, then my painting keeps the same level of detail, so I can I'm a little bit more flexible that way. And I'm a little bit ADD, so I I have trouble focusing on one place for a long time. Slightly jumping back and forth. There's probably some more mist back there. We'll have to refine later. Ooh, selected the wrong color there. Want to bring some color in this mountain back here, because currently it's just gray. But once we bring in some textures, it will automatically get some color. So maybe we wait until then. Bring in some brighter greens here. There, not too much. And get rid of most of the edges. I mean, there can be some variations, some rocks and like that. Not a pasture, so to speak. Yeah, of course it's grassland, but wasn't a farmer there that got rid of all the rocks, and so it's not very necessarily very clean. It is a bit too bright though, I think now. It's too much. Yeah, but we can darken it later. Zoom in. It is still very rough. that's okay. I'm not sure how far we will go zooming in for this painting. Coming back to this, I kind of like this reddish tone. Spread that over the rest of the cloud. Yellow, no, bit of a reddish orange. Depends on your screen, I guess. It's the size of the brush. Get in there. Coming back to the clouds. I don't have to think very hard when working on the clouds. Can be all kinds of shapes. Nature has to the clouds don't yeah, of course they make sense if you go really scientific about it, but if I make a cloud in the shape of a snake, nobody's gonna, most of the time nobody's gonna question it. But there has to be some form of explanation why rocks and things like that are a shape. There is a certain level of science about it, about landscapes. Of course it seems to be quite random, but all has to do with wind, water, and things like that. So you have to keep that in mind. I'm starting to get quite pleased with this guy. Yes, guy is getting better. Is there a fly on my screen? Go away. Well, it helps to check your progress. Stroke we put down the painting into a more finished stage. We have been painting for a little bit over 40 minutes. I was planning on painting for an hour and then starting with textures, but I'm gonna try and bring in some textures and see if it sparks some nice ideas. I don't think I'm gonna go with architecture with buildings. This one, maybe some hints of human involvement on some of the mountains, rocks, but not sure. I don't think I'm gonna much about that. And maybe we can still work on this one today. I'm gonna get rid of it for now. Back and forth. Let's see, where are my textures? Yeah. I still need sort them. A lot of them. And these are just you can see I'm browsing on my second screen, but it's this like this. You could use it. These are just photos from the internet. I'm not gonna use the photo. Well, of course I'm gonna use some bit of the photo, but let's see. There's a lot of snow on this one. Sure if I'm happy with that. Gonna open a couple of these, so we have some stuff in Photoshop to pick from. This might be nice for inspiration for the sunlight. Let's open it. And see. See more. Machu Picchu. Bring in Machu Picchu. Could do something like Machu Picchu. Or somewhere in the distance. Snow. Actually quite nice area here for the background. This really makes me wondering. If you can see on this picture, there's a lot of mountains. If you look at this one, of course, there's quite a bit of mountains, but compared to the picture, still not that much. So that's something I should probably be aware of a bit more. There's actually a lot more difference in value in a when you're taking a picture between the different mountains. You can see this is basically all the same value, so this reads as one mountain, but I could make 10 of these just by slightly increasing or decreasing the value. Actually, a thing I learned here, and it brings out a lot more detail in your painting as well. But maybe we can use this one. This actually is quite nice. Too dark, of course, but really like these colors. But let's work. Overlay is usually quite a good setting. Works fairly well. Flip this. Of course, we're gonna get rid of all the onto here. Yes. Get rid of this entire bit. Go. And if we bring this here, get the eraser out and pick a nice big soft brush. Get rid of most of the picture. White parts. Bye. Go. Be gone. Now we have this piece with. We probably should lower the opacity, but that brings in some more interesting values, and I think we're gonna use that bit again. Background mountains looks nice. We could do another overlay. Let's see if we could just get multiply and just lower the opacity down a bit. It actually works pretty well. Lower the opacity a little bit more. Fairly deep. Created a lot more bridges. Also, these are cloud. These are on the picture. These are mountains, but it could just read as clouds if you paint a little bit, with these. They will easily turn into clouds. And I think we're gonna do another one and just flip it. We have to watch out that obvious of the canvas. Also, for the opacity. So now we've got some more mountains in the background. This works pretty well. And of course, we're not gonna leave the photographs just there. We're gonna go in later with a brush and paint some more. It is a painting after all, but since we're working digitally, there's no reason not to use textures and things like that. It can really help bring your painting to the next level. I think it's doing that currently. I'm a lot more pleased with the background now. So let's see if we can bring in some more elements on the foreground. I've used this bit a lot, actually. There is locked. Use this bit a lot in a lot of paint. Coming back to it, because once you change the layer settings, it really it can get really interesting. See, we have to get more careful here. Sure. But basically using it for here and for here. Didn't use a whole bunch of that. Happy with that. This one. Maybe this is a time we're not using it. And I'm mainly using grass bit of this one to some nice areas of grass painting. I don't think we're gonna use it. Not yet. But I think I'm gonna use the bit that I actually almost never use. That's this mountain. This is a fairly very nice mountain. And we can bring this fly. Look, we have a new created a new mountain. If you use, yeah, overlay is a lot better. Of course, we have to erase a lot of it. Some of the trees. This is always tricky because I could try the wand. It's actually not better. But to get rid of the most of the things, we're gonna use fairly hard brush here. I'm gonna clean up. This. That's the problem with these layer settings. If you have a bright sky on your photograph that you're using, it may end up quite tricky to, but can erase out a bit of the mountain because it's still beating too hard. So really opacity of it. Brush. And we can basically put this anywhere we want. So that's mainly the background. We kind of want to start working on the foreground. Pictures aren't really working for that. Add more. A lot more, but the one, no, not really. I really like the kind of. Oh, maybe we can use some of this for the border. Sure. What is it? I know that I have a picture which is perfect for my current thing. But I'm not able to find it for some reason. Not useful though. Well, maybe we some way could get some a waterfall somewhere here. Let's see. Where do I have that? Is it this one? Oh, we can use this one. Somewhat useful. Let's open it. Not this one. This might be. Oh. Just to open all the ones that we might end up using, so I don't have to keep browsing. This is taking quite a long time. Maybe I should increase the thumbnail size in those. Make it easier to grab that one. Make it easier to find the picture that I want to find. Castle. Let's go to large thumbnails. Now I'm actually okay. I can actually see what better. Nope. This one might be useful as well. One might be useful. Nice haze. Nice fog. Ugh. I probably want to nice a lot of these. And the last one, come on, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Yeah, I can use this one. Oh. Nice cloudy. Yeah, there's one for the clouds. Right. It's that one if you want to work on the clouds a little more. Ah, this one is perfect. Look, this is great. Let's just straight off the bat start working. I think the colors of this painting are actually, I'm not sure, are they based on this? I don't know. Remember. Seems like it. What layer setting do we? Some of the trees too. Not hard lighted, way too. Lighting does actually work quite well. Lower the opacity a lot. And we're just gonna get rid of. Works actually fairly nice. Bring in some ID of trees. Yes, that works. Let's grab it again. And sometimes we're just using a tiny, very tiny bit of the actual picture. We are certain that it's cloud, so let's get rid of this. To multiply and lower the opacity way down. And it doesn't really seem that I used a lot, but something. And maybe we can copy this. Come on, go away. One more copy. So basically using the photo already 3 times for different locations with different purposes. Well, not entirely different purposes. Places I'm using it for is for texture, and well, it all has the purpose texture. Darker color, multiply, so dodge. Just for the texture, doesn't really much else, but it brings in some texture, some atmospheric fog. This one doesn't really do that much, but every little bit is something. We want some rock texture for that. By that already. I still haven't found the one that I was looking for. And I came across this one. This one. Did I open this one already? Remember. One might be useful in some cases. Let's grab it and see if we can somewhere in the background. Just to create more mountains, more detail. Because I think it when I saw that picture, it really struck me that there is a lot of mountains, and I kind of want this to be the horizon is sort of fairly low, so you're looking down upon a landscape, and then you can really look very, very far into the distance. So that's the case, then there should be a lot of mountains. It's actually really nice for you. Some of the fog. Of the fog. The shoot race slight bit. That might work. We have to collapse those layers later on, of course, because we have plenty of layers now. Collapse those down. Yes. Go like this. All together. Of course, the sad thing about this is that we cannot check our progress anymore because we are all on one layer now. But of course we can compare the one where we started with this one, of course, and that will something that we'll probably do. And the stream, check how we started and how we ended up. All right, we want some more. I think I'm gonna use the same one again, but now I'm actually going out of it. Probably could do it like this. Set it to interesting setting. Very interesting. It's actually very interesting. It changes the composition a bit. Actually works, I think. Brings in some variation, yeah, painting. Let's see a tiny bit. That's much. Of course, we're gonna yeah. I'm sort of looking for a spot to put. This shouldn't be too. Maybe this is better. It was high, and we can use this one again, of course. Flip it. We can do all sorts. A little bit works, and we have to go over this with again, but that's okay. Something we're going to do next. Do we want to bring in more? Yeah, I think I want to bring in a couple of more textures. No, you know what? Let's blend these in a little bit better. Let's continue painting now, and because that's what this is all about. Ooh, too much there. So I'm gonna paint in Gonna blend these in a little bit better. We're gonna work on the background. I think I still want this area. I want to have more mountains here, just like here. There's a lot more different values, and I really like that. So we're gonna bring in some more mountains there as well. Gonna probably use some textures for that as well. For now, let's work on what we have added. So we want to work on this bit. A little bit dark in some places. What? Shoot. Better with selection. And maybe there's some there as well. Right. Add. Here we go. Now we can be fairly rough, but okay. So that works better. Alright, let's grab one of my favorite tools. Well, one of my favorite methods is just select things with the Lasso Tool and go over them with a soft brush. Someone. And this will get rid of a lot of texture, of course, but I can bring in some texture later, mainly for the silhouette of the mountain. Right. This is a little bit. We do it like this, and then we're gonna select inverse. Maybe there's some. No, we should work. Separate that out a bit as well. Does that work? I think it works better. As it flies still on my screen, it's annoying me. Yeah, that works a lot better. So this is how we ended up with the texture added, and this is how we now. We lose a lot of detail, so we might go in there very softly. So. Set the photo opacity better, I think. Still has some work to do on any place where we want to. We could, of course, instead of using textures, we could just go in here with the Lasso Tool. Do it like that. So let's try that. Let's go in here and grab a lighter brush. Added some mountains as well. Right. Or pass a little bit on that one. So that works as well. We don't necessarily need to actually for that. We can do that on our own. And remember, time back I said we were gonna blur out the clouds here. Let's do that now. The mist. Here. Maybe it's a little bit too big. I think we need to get rid of the top part of it, or the top part we need to tone it down like this, and then we can bring in some more here as well by top. So now we have more variation in the background, a lot more detail, which I'm actually quite pleased with. Oh, we have come quite far. What time is it? How long have I been streaming? I think it's time for a short break. I'm gonna take a 5-minute break. I'm gonna grab a drink and get some food, and then I will be back in 5 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed so far. If you enjoy it and you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing. I think there is a button somewhere so that you can sub. Otherwise, yeah, there should be a sub button. Should get a plugin that I can actually see if people subscribe during my stream, but that's something for the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will be back in 5 minutes. And I'm back. Ooh, that was just in time. And that fly is still sitting at my screen. It's really annoying. Alright, where to continue? We get some mountains in the background. Still a bit messy. See? And too much. So, it will ruin the experience. This bit is a bit too dark. But we can do something about it. I'll lift the soft brush. Also want to get rid of brownish some of the mountains have. I think I'm gonna go with some more here. Work. Or brush. And maybe some more here. Some kind of round. Edge there. So now we have some more mountains. I kind of want this to keep this a bit low. Maybe the water flows all the way back there. Who knows? We cannot see it. There are mountains in the way. I think I'm gonna grab my normal brush again and find it. Why is this toolbar always driving me? Probably should put it somewhere else, but I don't know. Let's grab a slightly different brush to last time or before the break. This one is square. It's actually basically the same brush but square instead of really flat. For a while and see if I like it. I prefer the other one. I will switch back. But for now it seems fine. Clouds a little bit more. I have to work on this bit. Well, size of the brush slightly. Tad too big. I don't know. I don't like this appendix, so to speak. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, that's that. Oops. Better looking cloud. Natural. Kind of like these. Like I have here. These. It's of cloud flowing away, but overdo. Okay. Well, if you're overdoing. No such thing as overdoing it too much. Do. All right. It's starting to work. The painting. You look closely. Or you shouldn't look closely. You have to look. But if you look closely, you still notice that I haven't done it right because I'm highly sure. And the longer I work on a painting, more nervous getting about it. I think it's almost time to just ignore that and it. Can't wait forever. So let's put on the man pants to try and do something. I think I'm gonna go with my flat brush again. Yeah. We're gonna tone down this green a little bit. some strong green there, right, which wasn't necessarily correct. Should river a bit. Or it could be part of a lake. I think it's a river. Opacity 50%. I was wondering why is my brush not. Opacity was a little bit too low. I'm working constantly changing the opacity of my brush by using the number keys on top of my keyboard. If you press 1, it goes to 10%, 2 is 20, and so on. And if you press 1 and 2 quickly after another, it's going to get 12. And that way you can easily change the opacity of the brush without having to go to a little menu there. It's a really handy thing to know. The same goes for the brush size. I'm using the bracket keys to change the brush size. So that way I can constantly change the brush size on the fly, and the same goes for opacity. If I want to lower the opacity, I can really do it quickly. That's it. So that's really handy. That saves a lot of time. Makes things so much faster. Because if I have to go here, click this, and slide here, let's say I want 50, then yeah, that's about that. And now I can just press 5, and 50. Really useful. Like that. And there's still a lot of shortcuts I probably have to learn, but I think these things, same as color picking, just press Alt. But I'm sure if you're painting, you probably know that. It's the first one I think. But these things save so much time. That's why you can save time. It's really nice to know where you can save time. Because time, yeah, could be money. And maybe currently, well, for me, for instance, I'm not currently making money out of this piece, but if I was, save a lot of time. That's why you should make it a habit to save time, because might probably come a time when time is actually money. And I was for a couple of minutes working on the foreground, but I quickly switched back to the background again because, you know, foreground it's difficult, and there's a fly walking around. So I think I want to bring in this color for the place, for instance, to here for the grass. Maybe let's see if this and we get a little bit lighter. That's why this color works really well, because basically darker variant of color I already had. Get some of it down. This is basically just a forest, so there's not much going on there. I think I already put down some textures of trees, but I probably should just use textures for the entire thing, because I could go in there and paint each tree individually, but that is basically a bit of a waste of time. Why would I go in there if I could grab some texture. That texture is the tree. Saves so much time. So that's something I'm probably going to do. And then we will automatically get lighter and darker parts, so we don't have to bother with that. Too much, I think. Now it's just about cleaning up edges, just like here. This is a really dark bit. Here, dark bit, not that dark. Here, it's a rock as well. I have to make it dark. Otherwise, separate from the foreground more. Dark might actually work. Works pretty well. And maybe we want to continue that way. I still want to have some sort of a. Maybe we can separate it out as well. We have a nice little island thingy here. Maybe we can put a little tower there. We have at least some sort of a indication that there is human. Hello. There. And this is in the shadows, so it should be. Probably should we grab a get this up. Oh. Oh, this is a lot lighter. There still should be some texture here. I think we're doing quite a good job now. I'm getting in a nice little flow here. Sometimes takes a while to get in a flow, to get a certain level of confidence, which you can just grab your brush and go in there and go ham on the painting. But I think I'm getting there. Getting at that stage that I'm knowing what I'm doing. This bit is making me sad though. But we can probably throw in some textures on that as well, and can make it nice. So yes, we painted over the textures, and when we added the textures we were at this stage, and currently we are at that stage. And I think especially this area and this area is and of course the background as well, looks still really rough. Look at this. I think it really improved a lot. So the bits that we added a lot of texture are actually really starting to read quite well. But I think I want to add a little bit more texture to the foreground. I'm not sure if I want to use this forest again, because it didn't really work out the way I wanted it to work out. could actually be, maybe this could be interesting. It's a bit. Not as a foreground element, but as a background element. Again, it let's put it down here. Let's flip it. Again, it's round trees. Set the opacity 100. I don't want to have to go in there with the around these times. So we're using a tiny little bit of it. I think it works out decently to get the idea of a forest. It's pretty well. It goes with the foggy theme that I want to keep. I want this to be there a lot of fog in the background, some fog in the foreground. Can we use this for rock texture? No, we don't really need the rock texture unless we want to turn this to a rock top. And we could do it, but the initial plan was that the forest as well, but can change a little bit. Ooh. Copy fire pick. Wait. The way that it that is. Could make this like this. Don't get rid of too grass. And then we probably want some grass on top as well. So we want it to be like this. Let's be really rough here. Let's grab grass here. We probably want some grass here as well. Probably want some grass here, and then the trees maybe. We'll see. We could just go with the trees straight on top of it. Might work as well. Let's like this and copy it once more. That's all. It's not flip. This. The color is off though. Color is a bit off. Could, yeah, let's just get rid of color texture. So now the color matches a bit better. Get one more in there. corrupted. Well, we will paint over it, so get better. And now for the trees. Map the trees. As well. Can get this. Oh, you're big. I think you can be. Can there. Of course, we have some paintings to do again. We still have something to get over that grass. Maybe we can just use this. Easy. It's grass, so. Oh. Like maybe it's a bit hard, but not a bit. It's hard, but get rid of most of it. We got some texture in there now. Probably should paint some rocks and stuff like that. A lot of details there. But let's not worry too much about it. Yeah, that's definitely we want to start doing after this pass of textures. I think this is one of the last passes of textures that we're gonna add. This. Sure, if I have some more mountains with trees. Use. I don't think so. So we're gonna have to do what we got. This one is small. Maybe we can. These trees are fairly light. It generally works quite well. Layer effects on a background. Could use multiply. Decent. Overlay works as well. Soft light. We're just gonna use soft light and let's do it like this. Not too great. It works. We have trees now. It saves us a lot of time from painting. Yes, like this. Of course, we have to refine refine it, because now it looks really photo bashy, and we wanted this to look like a painting. And I'm gonna use the same same trees and I think I'm gonna use a couple of layers of these. Populate this area. Maybe we can add some foggy trees here as well. Does that work? Where are my foggy trees? One is, let's try incorporate these. There. The angle is different. The angle is actually wrong. This is you're looking from top down trees, and here you're just slightly above them. But it may work out when it's correct settings. So this as well. Soft light, does that work? Works actually fairly well. Are there any other settings that we look for? The color lighting. Screen works, but fog really pops. Don't want it to pop that much. So I think I'm going for a soft light on this one as well. It makes it a little bit too dark. I'm gonna do it like this. And copy this. Well, also want to copy the other trees. Maybe we want this to be. There we go. Bunch of trees. I think it works quite well. It's really rough in doing the experience, I think. Well, there you go. We still have some brush strokes, but that's fine because we're gonna paint over it. So yeah, I think this reads. I think this is fairly decent. So we're gonna collapse all these layers, and then we're gonna paint again. Probably should just Ctrl Shift. There we go. That's a lot faster. For now we're not gonna use any textures anytime soon. So let's see. I think maybe if we create another layer of depth here, might be good. Let's try that. It might be totally wrong. Let's try to create another layer of depth. Could work, but not with this selection. I think we'd have to like this. And maybe we can make this one a little more. Doesn't really work that well. I think I'm gonna trim off a little bit of the edge though. So we're gonna go in here, trim off a little bit of that edge, and then we can add. Can do it like this. now we can go in here, something like this. Probably have to add some texture to it later. Not entirely done with. This could work. Missing a lot of detail. I have to throw on some textures because this is a totally different level of detail than the rest of the painting. Why don't we just throw down this one, but slightly different selection. This maybe here. There. And we feels not like black and white, but it's not turned into black and white just yet. Layer settings. See what colors. Light could work. How's overlay? Yeah, overlay. Soft light. I think overlay brings in a little bit more detail. Most of this, and yeah, I think it's a little. This area here, why have I that much difficulty? Let's get rid of it, and let's select them because this. Well. And it works. I think soft light works just fine. We don't have to use soft light. We have to increase the opacity. So let's keep it soft light. Keep this opacity. And then rid of this. That. So now we have some texture in it. Yeah, that works better. Alright, let's grab a brush and start painting. Because that's excuse me. That's what we're here for. Now let me take a sip of water. That might help. Yeah. Grab the brush. It's way too big, so let's make it smaller. And we're just gonna focus a lot more on the details this time. We're so rough. More. So this is the edge of the forest. I think we can go with a fairly dark color. Get the edge. I want this to blend in better. Some greens here. Could be some grass here, that's okay. Patches. Stuff. Maybe there's a rock there. Who knows? Could be. outer edge. There's a little bit too much texture in the brush, but I'm gonna deal with it for now. Still fairly big with 40 pixels wide. Already zoomed in. At 100, I think at 50%. Zoom in a little more and a brush if we really wanted to, but if we're gonna do that, then the painting is like a very. I think I'm gonna keep it quite rough. Paint too much at the same time because okay, with these small little calculate everything. Not sure if it is my RAM or my graphics card or my CPU that's done that, but I kind of want to see what is holding me back here when I'm painting. My RAM is very stable, but it probably allocated a certain amount of RAM to Photoshop. So I should check whether the lag is reduced if I allocate more RAM to. But that's something that I will do off stream. Okay. Not now. And I'm painting really rough dots so that it almost looks like dots. But if you zoom out, then it's a little bit better. Want to make a nice change. I don't want to change from the texture to the paint to be so rough. So we're gonna clean up the paint and we're gonna paint over the texture. So in the end result, you will probably see that we use textures, but that's okay. That's okay. That's not a problem. But as long as it doesn't look like we just slapped a bunch of photos together and called it a painting. That's not the goal here. We want our textures to support the painting, but they are not the painting. So that's really important. Remember for me. And we also have to do quite some work on the water. Maybe I can find a picture of some water that will work, but I tried that in the past and it's fairly difficult. Still having quite some difficulty painting water. But maybe I shouldn't. Yeah, I should definitely olive water. Maybe we can become better at painting water. Now we're just putting down a lot of tiny brush strokes. I really think it is my RAM allocation that bogs me down with the brush. Investigate that. If that's the case, I think I will. Firstly, I will allocate more RAM to Photoshop because it seems to have only gotten access to, I think, 8 gigs of RAM, maybe a little bit less, even maybe 6. I got 16 gigs of RAM, so I got some space to increase that. If that helps, but it isn't quite over yet, I might invest in some more RAM. Though it's really expensive these days. 16 gigs of RAM is more expensive today than it was when I bought this computer. It's almost 2 years ago. So, but it might be worth it, definitely, if we want to, and I definitely want to continue with live streaming, then it might be a really good investment. So yeah, this is the. It's not necessarily the boring part of painting. It's a relaxed. Let's put it that way. It's a lot more relaxed than going in and figuring out compositions and subject matter and things like that. This is just painting is established. Now we just have to, well, that's what we've done the entire day basically. But currently at a stage that it feels fairly relaxed. Look at these colors here. These it almost looks like a village to me. So maybe let's try. If we want to try this on a new layer, now I feel confident enough to keep this on the same layer, but let's try to get some indication of houses here, so there is at least some human activity going on here. I think that would be fairly nice to have some indication of a civilization here. Some roofs that catch the sunshine. Probably should get in there. And I will, no, you know what? I will revisit it with the other brush because this is a very flat brush. It works quite well for landscapes. Well, I think it really works well for landscapes, but works a little bit less for architecture. I think I will change different brush to finish it. Or rather indication of how I'm gonna paint any individual house there because it's necessary. It's not the level of detail we're looking for today. I might do a very detailed painting in the future, but I really like to keep my paintings to a fairly rough level, because that allows me to work fairly quickly. To have a high volume kind of paintings that I make. Well, I still haven't made very much paintings, not a lot of paintings, but still learning. So I want to the amount that I do fairly high. Maybe we should zoom out a little bit more when we're working on the background. Yeah, that's the colors. Go to lower opacity setting. Can at least add some green there. And if you have any questions on what the heck I'm doing here and things like that, just feel free to ask them. If you're watching this at a later stage, if you're watching the VOD, just post your questions down in the comments below. I will always check your comments. It's the beauty of being a small channel. There's not a lot of comments going around yet. I have time for each and every one of them. And I will definitely try to answer them if I can find an answer. Otherwise, I will just say, I don't know. If you don't know something, you gotta be honest about it. And there's a lot more that I don't know. There's a lot that I do. So. Yeah, I think I'm gonna extend the border here. Yeah, that works. To me, it works at least. Some sort of a highlight for grass that might be growing there. Up to the person who views the painting. So I think little refinement. Ooh, I wasn't even painting in a new layer. I thought, you know what? Let's check the the progress that we made, but I wasn't on a new layer, so we cannot check that progress, unfortunately. So change that for the next bit. Get a new layer for painting. Have some. You can obviously see that that's okay, as long as the detail level of the texture doesn't exceed the detail level of the painting, because that makes it really strange. I have these spots on the painting that are much higher detail level. Makes sense. To have the same detail level. Oh, you don't necessarily want the same detail level over the entire painting. You probably want a higher detail level of detail on the focal point. But overall, should be a sort of flow in it. Getting quite some lag now. That's definitely a check out for the next live stream. RAM usage, RAM and brush. Because my CPU and GPU have any both working at 40 to 50%, so there's plenty of room there. My RAM is just constantly working at a certain. Screen might be a bit too bright, but like that, but we could do let's do that on a new layer. If we're making a village there, why not make a nice little castle or tower thing here, so that we have an ID. You know what? Maybe some sort of expensive location. And we can play around with this a little, I think. Taller. Yeah, that might be nice. Now we have a sort of a castle tower thingy over here. Maybe we'll create a bridge there. Probably here, because then they have a possibility to walk along the shore to there. Otherwise, we have to create bridges. So yeah, we're gonna add a nice little bridge there. Waterfall. There, and there might be some. Yeah, I think that works. We'd have to detail that a little bit more so that it pops a little bit better. So you can actually see, you know what, that is man-made. That would be nice. I think I'm gonna bring back this bit a little bit. Let's size here, so that the castle pops a little bit better. Then we might even make it a little bit bigger so that it overlaps with this bit. Soft brush again. One of my favorite tools. To saturate dark. This. That. Yeah, I think it works. Yeah, that works pretty decent. Let's go in there and detail the castle a little bit better. Let's grab this brush for now. A little bit smaller. My detail. So rough. But you wouldn't look at it from so close. We probably want to bring in some color as well. Brush really works at size 20 and above for some reason. Has to do with the texture that I added to it. It also makes it hard to work really small, tiny details. So I probably should create some more brushes. Maybe we can use this brush. This is my pencil brush. Pencil. That works actually fairly well for adding details, I think. Application focusing here. Some green around the castle. I think. So lower the opacity. Higher. Application of rocks. Darken some of the. I think this is. I think this shows. You zoom out. This will show as man-made, I think. And that's all we want. We don't want to work too much on the castle because it's such a tiny piece of the entire painting. But just to have an indication that, you know what, there is human life here and they are using this, and it gives a bit of a nice fantasy look. So we will work on a village as well. Now I want to start working on this area because this looks really strange. At this point, I think this is the weak part of the entire painting currently. So let's try to improve this part and make it a better part. Or find the edge here. It's a little bit harsh. And then out there, not too much. Of course, because we used the lasso tool. Could try and throw some trees on the edge to see if that solves the problem. But instead of spending 3 minutes looking for texture, the texture work, we can paint for 5 minutes. Probably fine. That also has to do with the time. thing I said before. If you can save time somewhere, just do it. Why waste time? Unless you are find the process really important. Something is process driven, then time or most often isn't that big of a deal, less of an issue. But I am not making process driven art here. I'm working towards an end result in the end. What counts. And it doesn't matter how I got there. But the time may matter. It doesn't currently. Maybe in the future that project time does matter. So I have it, but spent too much time. Been streaming for quite some time now. Wait, about time. 2 hours and 17 minutes. When did I take my last break? It was an hour ago or so, I think. Probably should start thinking about break. Not sure how long I want this stream to be, but as long as I G and I would just, so we might continue for another well, I think for at least another hour, but maybe for 2 hours. But it depends. If we finish with this painting in, let's say, 1.5 hours, I will just end the stream there, I think, and not start to work on another one, because I won't be able to finish it during this stream. So I'd prefer it to do the entire process, or the entire refining process on one stream instead of separating it. Could get some grass. Here. Some grass. Some darker green. Not that dark. Come on. Yes. No. That. Find this border here. We just need to refine the edge of this rock. We need to find here and go. Maybe there is some grass. And if maybe on top there is some grass on the edges here and there, oxide, some grass as well, but I think I'm gonna go with dark green for that. Looks better. I can color pick it. Right. Color pick it again. There is some grassy bit here. Folds back around here maybe. And we can make this anyway whatever we want. That's painter. You are in charge. Although you can be held back by the knowledge of color, light, and that's definitely something that's holding me back. Maybe a little bit perspective, but perspective isn't actually that hard. Well, I don't really find the perspective part the hard part. I find the color, not necessarily color, but the light, the hard part. How do you highlights and things like that? That's quite thinky. But it helps to think about it, because by just thinking about it and making logical decisions gets a lot easier. Think, you know what, the light is coming from the left. Well, it makes sense that the left catches light and it's lighter. Right side. Follow that. Most of the time it will just be fine. Unless of course there's bounce light and things like that. But in the end, just try to think logically about it, and it makes sense. That's how I improve, I think, by looking at things when talking, things like that, and thinking by myself, how does it work? How does it all fit together? Seeing the world as cubes and cylinders and things like that, and how does the light affect the way I see the things like that. That really helps. I have a mindset like that. I think that helps developing drawing and skills. Because if you can understand the world, you can understand why something is a certain color, or why something is lit up a certain way, or things like that. If you can understand that, then it's a lot easier to put it on a paper than when you don't have a clue why something has a red glow on it, for instance, but there might be a red wall behind the object, and maybe the sunlight is hitting the wall, and a lot of that red light bounced back object, and that's why the object has a red glow. Understand that, then you can incorporate that. Doesn't necessarily make things instantly, but things sure. I think understanding the world around you have to work on. Yeah, we're just gonna continue this this process that I'm doing now. Just going in there with the brush and just painting away. It's a bit tedious and it's repetitive, but it's also very relaxing because you don't have to think really hard. Most of the things are established, so just have to worry about picking the right color and things like that. Fine. I don't want to worry too much about detail on this side. Okay, I want to worry a little bit more about detail here. Get the lasso away. Slower. Yes. 80. And I'm still thinking, is this too much detail, this texture here? I'm actually I'm actually fine with it. Maybe I will get rid of it a little rock next to it, or I probably just get some texture on there. Currently it doesn't fit next to each other. Level of detail. Could just manually add some to help. That's the good thing about a textured brush. It brings in a lot more detail with a brush stroke than if you use a brush without texture. Especially in landscapes and characters, it might be a little bit too, might not work well, because this is a landscape, it works actually quite well. Texture. Castle. Yeah, I was quite pleased with this waterfall before. I'm gonna get rid of him. I think now with the bridge and things like that, I think this, like this, yeah, I think that definitely better. Yeah, that's an improvement if you ask me. So I have to work on this bit. This has to see value. Go. I'll go back. Yes, there we go. And we probably should go in here and clean up this edge. Well, might be quite a different brush, but I'm going to keep a bit of the texture, but not so much as that we currently have. You can clearly see that we used a much bigger brush here, or we didn't actually use a much bigger brush, but when I was painting the thumbnail was a lot smaller, so brushes automatically get it. Oh yeah, we want to get rid of artifacts, so you don't have to be very that, but up a little. I think I'm gonna go in here and flat down some more mountains that way. Maybe I should bring out the Lasso Tool again. Is my favorite tool. I don't know if it's my favorite tool. Get landscapes like these handy. We still want some amount of fog here, so let's grab the. That will clean up a lot of the edges as well. Let's grab the soft airbrush and just pop in some mist here and there. Soften a lot of edges. Soften here. We're still keeping the different values. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think I'm gonna take a small second break. I'm gonna let my brain rest for a while, and I will be back in 5 minutes, and then we will continue with the last final. Well, last, I don't know. We can still work on this for quite some time if we wanted to. But I think I'm gonna work for an hour, maybe two, and then it will probably, we can probably hold this one finished. It will probably be in a state that can safely say that. Alright, I will be back shortly. And I'm back. Let's see, where do we want to continue with this? I think I have just to continue painting. Yeah. This edge isn't really clear. So that's something that we're gonna clean up now. Not clean up, work on and try to mess a bit of the Lasso Tool. And let's see, let's grab this blue. This maybe. Yeah, I think that reads a little bit. Let's flatten these two layers. And drink a bit of water. Yeah, let's just continue. Let's clean up this mist because it is. I want to use the soft brush for this. Hardly. Should get some. So let's get back to our landscaping brush. That's how I'm gonna call it from now on. This is a landscape brush. And probably have to figure out a way to help. Can roughen this edge up a little bit with the water. Very clean, straight edge. I kind of like that though, because it's very far away. We'll end up with the straight line, although there might be variations in the shore. That's mainly due to the distance. I think if we want to keep that effect, get some. So the opacity, let's increase that. Okay. Stills. I think the level of detail is fine. Better separation from water. Actual water. Colors here and there. And we can do as many passes as we want with this. I mean, you're just going back and forth over the entire painting and changing things, adding more detail. For another on an island in a lake, I don't think so. No, it's just it's quite big, but if you can do this once, one pass of detailing, or twice, or 4 times, and each pass you do will increase the level of detail. So if we were to do this process, let's say 20 times, you will end up with very detailed. because we don't really have to change anything anymore about the composition. We can just go in and change little things, increase the level of detail. Can get a lot of detail. Okay. Since we want to keep it quite rough, we won't do it a lot of times. Do this pass and maybe another one, and then we will call it a day. If you like the result, of course. If you think, you know what, it's going to be a lot better with another pass of detailing, then we probably should do another pass of detailing. But since this is a landscape and there's a lot of texture in landscapes and all fairly rough, so to speak, the level of detail, I don't think you necessarily need a lot of those passes to get the acceptable amount of detail. Let's lower the opacity and up the screen a bit. Get a nice shift from the rocky bit, passy bit, and that way we can also a little bit better. This is still quite detailed, so maybe this is an indication on how detailed we want the rest of the painting to get it to the same level of detail as this bit. But I think I'm gonna select this and go over it once with a soft brush, because this is a fairly dark value in a place which shouldn't have that dark values. I'm still not sure what to think about this. Take a light color. Really bends around here, and I kind of wanted to have it a little bit straight and then cut off. Maybe we can change that by painting it. I'm not really happy currently. And go back to it. Probably gonna be some rocks down here, or grass. Quite sure if I want to keep this dark, but why not? These are really I'm really happy with the entire painting, I think, but except for this bit here, I think it's quite messy. I might decide to change it a little bit. I think I'm gonna keep the overall composition, so we're gonna keep this bit here, but not really happy with the rocks. So let's change that. Let's go in here and just bad boy. Lower the opacity. I already think this looks a lot better. It was just those bendy This curves. This bend around the corner. I didn't. Just didn't work for me. Gonna go in there yet. I think I'm gonna grab the same texture that we used for. Gonna use this texture. Could use this one though. Maybe that will make it better. Because I am too lazy to paint it all out. This is a fairly big part on the foreground, so. Cool. Let's see, what layer setting do we want here? Probably something like overlay of soft light. It'll get very, very dark if you use soft light. Maybe instead of this color, use a like this. Come out much lighter, but not. Screen or color dodge. Way to go. Color dodge makes it really messy. I don't really like this. For the background here it was okay, but I don't know. It's so contrast between the whites and I don't know. There's too much contrast in this texture too. Here we have it. We gotta make sure that we get rid of that bend. Maybe if we, I think we just have to do this, something like. I don't remember which shading we used, but color. Yeah, I think this looks a lot better than I had before. So that makes me quite happy. Yeah, this is definitely better. Try to get texture well acceptable level. I think we can live with this. Yeah, I think this is better. We'd have to go in there and paint quite a bit away, but yes, this is better. Alright, let's lower these layers, and I think I'm finally done. Actually, finally done with the textures. We gotta keep painting because otherwise we're not gonna make it in the 2 hours that I still had planned. Or no, it's only 1.5 hours left, I think. I also want to make a time lapse of this. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that today. It's not gonna be online today, that's for sure. Probably gonna be next Friday or coming Friday. This week, Friday. But time lapse online. And next week we will have a new live stream, a new painting. I think I'm gonna do a couple of these after another, and hopefully I can see my skill level increase each time I do the live stream. And maybe we can do different variants as well. We're using a lot of textures in this one. Normally use quite a bit of textures, but maybe we can do one where we don't use textures. Have to paint the stuff. That could be nice. And for learning the painting, probably a good idea. I think I have to use the other brush for that tree line. Gonna be better, hopefully. Set it higher opacity. Still can't really see the where the forest turns into the grass. And I think it looks a bit too dark here maybe, so we might change some light. Wider greens here, some lighter greens. Start with that. I think we have to work on the lighting on this one. Go to this one. We need to get rid of all these brush strokes. I think. Grab the brush again. No, not the pen. The size of the brush. These are old brush strokes and they're so we have to refine this. And we basically have to refine the entire forest this way. There are some strokes here as well. We can break them up. Probably some and I think I'm actually going to this as well. Let's put on a new layer. Like it. Which color do we want? Little tiny little bit. It's good work. Maybe we will go ham and this, for instance. Like this. Not too much, just to give an indication that we could do it like somewhere like here as well. To indicate that there is a height difference in this area as well. So it isn't just smoothly going up, but there is a yeah, I think that's works. So paint again. It's basically just rinse and repeat from now on. So we're happy with the result. And we probably should look into getting some lighter greens in there. Not too light, but just to get a little bit of variation in color and highlights and things like that. In this bit, maybe I should get a what? Go ham with this. I mean, if we want this to look like an epic landscape, a really big, from a really long distance away, you're gonna see a lot of mountains, as we saw on that photograph. I don't know where it is. It's the first one here. If you look here in the distance, there's a lot of mountains, a lot of detail. We want to go for that. Definitely have to refine this edge up here. Something that I see, because this is the worst part of the painting now, I think. It's here. They're horrible. Always trying to solve the worst problems each and every time. Problems go become less and less and less. And of course we can go in here with the lasso tool and just say, you know what, there is a mountain range here. We can do that quite a lot. I think I did not do it enough in the past. It's definitely that I'm gonna do a lot more. Add more mountains. And if you think you have enough, just add a couple of more. Extra. I think we're coming at a stage where I'm actually fairly pleased with the overall look. We still have to select this fairly. Slightly. Go. I think this works. Didn't get the edge because we didn't select it. But maybe we can like that. Yeah, that's better. Popped out too much. Same goes for this this area here. Maybe we want some of that mist coming here as well. I want it to be not to be that reddish, but blue. And I think we're gonna grab this so that it is behind this ridge, in front of the other. Is that okay? Fairly decent. Selected. What's the button to deselect? I don't have the shortcut available. Let's see. Gradient a little bit smoother. It is also fairly dark. I didn't. There. And I think we want to add some quite light parts. There's an indication that the sun is actually a sun. Still need to work on this water. Add too much. If this is quite light, then it should get lighter as well. I want there to be some decent places where grass picks up quite a bit of light. Like this. This is a nice color. I think we've come quite far. I probably should. I didn't save the original. Yeah, I still got the original in the thumbnail file. I think we're gonna. Once we're done, we're gonna take a look at the file that we started with, file that we up with. See if it was a nice change. I think I'm gonna do something here with that mist. Let's try this instead. To select the word. Try to do it like this time. We immediately get some texture in there. Yeah, I think that it adds a little bit of detail. We still need to work on that village. Let's do that now. Or the thing that should become a village. Let's grab this brush. Let's see what can we do here. Let's put down some sort of housing. Maybe there is some grasses maybe extended here a bit, tiny bit. We get a bit of separation between two forest layers. We probably should on this a little bit as well. Increase the opacity. Because we're working with this brush when it's so small, it work below 25. Then it's working very well. See, it's not consistently putting down paint. Texture is actually too big for such a so small. Probably should get some like browns in here. Not show well. You want some rocks in that river? Maybe. Sure yet. Probably want some shimmy color there. go. I think we want to darken this bit a little bit because we get some shadow maybe from this mountain. So we will end up with a quite light river and a slightly darker river. We could try that. But first I want to work on it. I'm gonna do it. Just gonna be, hopefully it will read as a village when it's done. Group of houses. Probably is. Cannot see it how it reads when we keep that zoom. Can I grab this gray? Some of this dark green from the forest. There is some. We probably should get an entire different color in there. Say that maybe there are some orange roofs, orange tiled roofs, and now we get a much better idea that there is actually something normally doesn't belong in this landscape. And maybe we can light it up with a streak of sunlight. Let's try to add a layer of sunlight. I think we need to set it to color dodge. Oh. So grab a big. Save that. There we go. We probably want to set the opacity of this brush to very low. Might be too low. Set it to 50%. Why? Because I selected this as an ever. There we go. Let's try to work it like this. Works a little bit better. Can maybe get, yeah, but maybe get things in like this, just along the edges. I think the orange is a little bit too orangey. So we're gonna go with this is too white. Go halfway. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Set the opacity a little bit lower. And we're gonna erase a bunch of this as well. Erase this back out. This back out. And we only want the top to be. So we go this as well. But it's mainly so that we have a nice streak of light. Maybe we can light up the castle as well. Doesn't really work. There we go. Is this a read? Does this work? Yeah, I think that works quite well. There are some planes, jet fighters. Why is my quality so bad? Yeah, the quality is fine. Shouldn't stress my work here. Yeah, it's fairly rough. Do I want to continue today? I think I'm gonna continue for let's say for another 20 minutes. I'm gonna paint a little bit more, and then we're gonna call it a day. I might work on it a little bit more off stream and put the end result at the end of the time lapse. Because sometimes it's good to take a bit of distance from the piece, and then when you come back, you have refreshed yourself a little bit. Then you can sometimes work on it a little bit better. Small mistake here with the lighting. That. I still want this. Let's say that this is all fairly dark in the water. So we need a big brush, fairly dark. Multiply. I think I quite like this. Let's blur it down. Is this a blur tool? Smudge or blur it? Blur it. Maybe smudge. Smudge at the edge. That over there. I think we will create a nice shadow this way. Maybe a bit too dark now. But that's why we have a option to. Is that better? Light or multiply? I think multiply is better. Increase a little bit. I think this adds. I think it adds to the painting. We're gonna keep this layer on top, so that we will work, and so we can work on the river to make it, to finish it, so to speak, and then we can put on this layer, and we have the shadow, so we don't have to think about the shadow. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think we're almost done here. Still my least favorite part about a painting, but that's fine. Probably should flip the canvas. Check. Flip canvas horizontally. Check if the perspective is off somewhere. I think it's actually quite fine. So let's keep it like this, and we're gonna paint in a little bit more, and then we're gonna call it a day. So grab a landscaping brush. Landscaping. Probably want to build a bit of the texture here. It's actually fairly high level of detail, which is fine. We're looking from it like this. Compared to the rest of the painting, the detail level is a bit too high here. So we're gonna bring that back so that it is in line with the rest of the painting. Clean up these edges as well. Nice and clean. As well. Good. I think the next painting I want to start, I want to experiment with different brushes. So maybe we can get a slightly different look. For the really rough stages, these brushes are actually really handy. Keeps a sort of a certain rough level of rough amount of textures there, and I do not necessarily want that when I start to get a little bit more into detailing. So maybe I will do it on this one when I finish it. I think I'm gonna finish this on my own, work a little bit more on it. Here and there. I like my grass on the rocks. But it has a certain level of roughness to it, this brush, and after a certain level of refinement, it's kind of don't necessarily want it. There are ways to work around it, but sometimes you just want to try something. So maybe we'll try brushes. I think I'm gonna stick with bigger, small, very small brush. Now to just do the final fine detailing. To be border, separate. Oh, that's what it is. Like this. I think we're getting there. We're getting there. yeah, it looks a lot you know, find this a bit more. We could bring in some more textures here on top. We could also just bring back the or turn down the tree a little bit. Both ways are fine. It's not much to talk about now because it's just the same process over and over again. So it isn't, might not be that exciting. So yeah, do we want to change anything currently? I'm still not really happy with that junk over here. It doesn't really fit the landscape, I think, but I'm gonna have to deal with it. I think I'm gonna make it a little bit more bluish, a bit reddish now. Grab it, rough, airbrush, grab some of blue, and say effect. Soft light, does it change? Yes, it changes the way it looks quite a bit. Can increase the opacity more. Yeah, that way it is a lot better in our painting. Overall, I'm really happy with this. Apart from this, I'm not really happy with it. But for the rest, I think we almost finished the piece, or we're at a decent level. We still want to work on the clouds a little bit. Why don't we just right now maybe work a little bit more on the river? But overall, I think we probably should turn this down a tiny bit. Overall, I think we made a decent we did a decent job. So I'm gonna quickly go in and with the soft brush find them clouds a little bit here. I'm still gonna work on this one after not today, I think, but later this week to completely finish it. But I think we are at a quite decent stage here, so that we it is definitely presentable. Soften those clouds a little bit there, distance as well, and probably down here as well. Yeah, that works. It was a really rough cloud. So we are at a quite a presentable level. I think we can close all these textures here. Those anymore. Let's see where we came from. I cannot find it recently because a lot of. Let's see. Go. Can actually see where we came from. Wait, well, first of all, we made thumbnails. See them. This is where we started, and this is the first thumbnail. So let's actually paste it in here. So this is what we started with, and then we refined the thumbnail. This. It's actually gonna be there. Can. So this is how we started with we made 12 really rough thumbnails, and this was this was the result of that. As you can see, you can barely see what's going on, but it was just the point of getting information down the canvas, which I later could use. Then we did a live stream in which we refined 6 of the original 12 original thumbnails, and refined it to this stage. So we came from that, and now we worked for about 3 hours, a little bit more. Well, I think the total work, yeah, it's a little bit over 3 hours, and we ended up with this. So we go from this to that. I think. As you can clearly see, we if you spend time on something, it's definitely going to improve. Especially if you look at this, we could for a moment on a layer on top of this. There we go. So from here, this is what we did today. We started here, we ended up here. So that's really encouraging to see that when spending time, we'll end up with a nice looking painting. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you watch this, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoy things like this, make sure to subscribe. There's going to be a whole lot more content, and with different paintings, different subject matters. We're currently doing landscapes, but I'm planning to go towards architecture. We also want to do creatures, and of course we want to do characters at some stage, but I have to practice the human figure for that. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy it, and yeah, make sure to like and subscribe if you do like this content, and I hope to see you in the next one. Also, make sure to check out the channel. Maybe if you're watching this back, it will be already be uploaded. If that's the case, then there will be a link below in the description of this live stream to the time lapse of the live stream. I'm gonna cut out all the breaks and things like that, so we can have a nice little time lapse. I'm gonna shrink it down to about 5 to 10 minutes, and in those 5 to 10 minutes you can see me refine the painting, and after the painting you will have the end result. Maybe I will work on it a little bit more and put the end result in a time lapse. Maybe I will keep it like this. This is a fairly rough stage, but I kind of like it. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you later. Bye.